What's up, everybody? It's Make It Make Sense, and we got to talk about some things involving Jamie Foxx and these new rumors about him being paralyzed and blind. I don't think this stuff is passing the smell test, and we got to talk about it. Like the video as the intro plays.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. That's all. 1 and 1 got to equal 2.
Make it make sense. Hey,
Yeah,
I love that. Make it make sense.
Make it make sense, boo.
Big moves. Surfer.
Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dream. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dream. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense.
Hey, I see you done made your way back over here on my page, looking and lurking. Yes, I know it's exhausting. She's still doing the same thing. She's still all that.
Still all that. Welcome, lurkers and all. Okay, guys, so by now you've heard the rumors. Jamie Foxx is paralyzed, blind. We've heard it. But when it came from Dr. Drew, my first thought was, okay, a doctor is saying it. I really had not done a deep dive about Dr. Drew, and I really have not been privy to anything going on with Dr. Drew in years. But once I became privy, it got me thinking maybe these allegations, these accusations aren't necessarily the most accurate, but instead a tool to push an agenda. Bear with me. I'm not here to tell you guys what to do as it relates to we'll call what happened in 2020 the panini, and we'll call what we're going to be talking about the shot. I'm not here to do that. Your belief system, what you choose to do, is totally up to you. What we're talking about is a accusation that came from two people who have an agenda. And let me tell you why. In the interview with Dr. Drew and AJ Benza, this pops up. This program features medical professionals discussing controversial medical topics. Always consult your personal physician before making any decisions about your health. And I was like, okay, interesting. Hadn't necessarily seen that before. But if you look on YouTube, there are all of these channels discussing it, and it comes with an independent fact check. Claim Jamie Foxx was paralyzed and blind by that. Rating unverified. Rating unproved. Now, guys, I know I'm coming up with the YouTube tips. This is a free one. There are a lot of channels that are called Chat GPT channels. They come out with all kinds of wild, crazy accusations. So if you look at this rumor, the first one that pops up is actually one of these channels. They make really outrageous claims that aren't necessarily based in fact. You will see I'll be coming out with some videos where we're going to be fact checking some really salacious titles and headlines where when you get into the body of it, it doesn't exist. Look out for those videos coming soon. Y'all, I've been doing a deep dive. But if you see, there are all these channels discussing it. And Dr. Drew's is even third on the list with 104,000 views. Now, you're thinking 100,000 views is great, not for a celebrity. Dr. Drew is technically a celebrity. So 100,000 views is not great. Then I went to his page to kind of see what else was going on with him since I wasn't up to date. And that's when I found out that Dr. Drew has an agenda. I'm not saying he's right or wrong for his agenda. I'm just saying he has an agenda, and it is anti-shot. That is what he has been. And if you look at his views for the past live streams, none of them stack up to the one that had the accusation about Jamie Foxx. 8,700 views, 27,000 views. The Jamie Foxx one, 104,000 views. 10,000, 22,000. And again, he's a celebrity. When celebrities get on YouTube, typically their channels take off extremely fast. But let's get into what was actually said and why I don't think it passes the smell test.
I think that this ties into the Jamie Foxx theory. I worked my butt off to get a story about what happened to Jamie Foxx, because it was all baloney what they were reporting. He's playing pickleball. He's responding on Instagram.
Now that is true. The pickleball, I was like, okay, that's a stretch.
No, he's not. People do that for you. It's all lies. I had somebody in the room who let me know that Jamie had a blood clot in his brain after he got the shot. He did not want the shot, but the movie he was on, he was pressured to get it. This movie he's doing with Cameron Diaz. And I'm thinking, is that what?
So let's start there. All he's saying is there's somebody in the room, not a doctor, not a family member. Now, everything has been extremely tight-lipped. TMZ has not even technically really gotten anything. And AJ Benza has somebody in the room. Already, it's like, as I listened to it initially, I just, he had Dr. Drew. So when you have a doctor on panel with you, it kind of gives validity to what you're saying. But let's continue as to why I don't think that it's the most valid story anymore.
Why he blew up on the set a week before this medical emergency happened. Is that why he fired 3 or 4 people? Because he just had it with these mandates? I don't know.
So he's not saying that the person who told him he had a blood clot told him that he was unhappy. He is now guessing. So it's called two truths and a lie. You put up something that sounds against something that may or may not be the most plausible, but when you mix them together and people want to believe certain things, it works. I'm telling you, we're gonna be exposing a lot very soon.
But what I found out from the man in the room was that
he didn't find that out from the man in the room. That was his speculation. Now he's going back to what he found out from the man in the room.
The blood clot in the brain caused him at that point to be partially paralyzed and blind. Because if you read into what they were saying early on, he's communicating with us. That doesn't mean talking. That could be anything. It could be, writing, sign. I know those little code words. And then when you tell me your father's playing pickleball, give me a break. I don't know. There's a great shroud of secrecy around Jamie Foxx. He's probably the most multi-talented person we have in Hollywood. But even TMZ is not reporting this. And I know TMZ's got sources in hospitals who give them information, whether it's legal or not. But they're not. Mike Tyson got close. A week after I broke my story on my show, Mike Tyson said that Jamie had a blood clot in his brain. No one's gone that far to say that yet. I think Mike did, and he probably got a phone call.
Hold on.
Said,
AJ, let me sort of step back a little bit from what you're saying and just say, look, blood in the brain is a cerebral bleed. It's not a stroke. A stroke is a blood clot in an artery to the brain that cuts off the blood supply to the brain, and the brain dies. So we're talking about, and it's been widely known that he had a stroke, right? I mean, they've said stroke many times. Yeah. So it's to say it's a blood clot in the brain is it's a stroke. It's a blood clot in an artery that cuts off the supply. That part of the brain is dead. And it has very serious consequences. It depends on which artery and what the...
Now, it's important to say here, this is why Dr. Drew is giving it validity. AJ said something that was not necessarily medically sound, and so Dr. Drew corrects him. But everything involving the shot, Dr. Drew stays quiet on, which to me says, if you're a doctor and these things are, specifically just your medical opinion and not necessarily what is out there for people to... I'm trying here, guys, because I'm not telling you guys what to do. I'm not telling you guys what to believe. I'm just saying you always have to question people's motives. And this is the disclaimer underneath everything that he is saying. When you go to the video, this is there along with this. And then what I showed you initially. Question motives, guys. As a doctor, he does not like what is being said specifically about the stroke and a blood clot. So he corrects it. He does not say anything as it involves the shot. Guys, we think about it.
The anatomy of that artery is, to what parts of the brain, whatnot. But it is not something that, let's put it this way. Is he still in the hospital? Is that what I'm supposed to believe? And playing pickleball? Is that?
I don't think it's all baloney. It's all baloney. The daughters are doing the speaking for him. His oldest daughter, Corinne, is doing the speaking. She said he's been out of the hospital for weeks. But that's not true. He's at a very good hospital in Chicago who specializes in this kind of rehab. And every friend who comes out whether it's Kevin Hart or Nick Cannon or whoever, all says pray for Jamie. He's got to get through this. Nobody comes out with great news. It's always somber. So he's in a bad spot.
Let's try to, I always have to dismantle the medical reporting because it is so freaking inaccurate and pathetic. So let's talk about pray for Jamie. What are we praying for? What exactly do people expect? If there's a stroke, that brain is gone. Now, if he wants to walk again, I think that's a thing to pray for. That he could. It depends what the distribution of this thing is. But play the piano again and that kind of thing. I mean, oh boy, you know, I mean, that's it has to be a very small stroke, and hopefully that's the case. I mean, hopefully it is. And then I heard a rumor that he may have had hypertension. Did he have high blood pressure also?
Yeah, he did have high blood pressure. He's been on those meds. And you know, my buddy who died was also a black man, and I feel like well, you would know this, don't they have more of a
So, guys, again, there's an agenda here. Not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying there is an agenda. So when people with an agenda make claims like this, it is super important to question the motives. The motives here are anytime that Dr. Drew makes a salacious claim about what happened in 2020, he gets the views. His other stuff, not so much. In addition, they were saying Mike Tyson got the closest. Mike Tyson specifically said he's not feeling well. They said a stroke. I have no idea what happened to him. He didn't say who they was. He didn't say if it was reports that he heard. He didn't say that he heard it from a family member or another celebrity or somebody who's close to the source or somebody in the room, like AJ said. We don't know what's happening with Jamie. That's why I typically do not report, but I can tell you that this particular one, to me, does not pass the smell test, only because there is a motive there. But you guys can put in the comments what you think. Just know I have a lot coming down the pike. We are fact-checking things. We got a lot going on with Diddy. It's a lot. Stay tuned. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe because it's about to be a bumpy ride. I will see you guys later. Have a good one.